Hello and welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. My name is Jared Bauman and I'm your host for today. We are joined by Chelsea Clarke, and she is the founder, business intermediary, and as I'm sure we're going to learn quite a bit more hats that she wears. She is over at her Paperroot, and also she is the founder of blogsforsale.co. Chelsea, did I get everything right there on the introduction?
Yeah, thank you. I'm so happy to get to chat with you today. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, I'm so excited for the interview today because as I was preparing for this, it became apparent to me that you have a lot going on, and so I'm sure there's a lot we're going to be able to touch on today and learn from you with. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. That's a funny thing that you mentioned that because when I started my business, when I was just getting started and I started it as a blog, I was trying to figure out what I could do, what sort of services I could offer. And I ended up just sort of trying a bunch of different services. And in the last couple of years, I've scaled down and I've stopped offering all the different services, right? Like I used to do website installs and things like that. And I really had to stop doing that so that I could really focus on the main things that I wanted to do. But I guess there is still a lot going on.
So what we're looking at today is a scaled down version, even better. Man, oh man. Well, let's talk a little about what got you here and what got you on your path to where you're at today. And we'll dive into her Paperroot and obviously the blogs for sale is super intriguing for a lot of the people that are going to be listening to this. But let's hear a little bit about what got you into websites, what got you into online marketing.
Absolutely. So I always had a blog as a hobby all through university. I mean, I was always just doing it for something for fun for too long. And I didn't think about it as a business. I was just, blogging about whatever I felt like. I was sharing photos and traveling around and sharing tips and things, but I hadn't monetized it, even though after university, I was working in corporate marketing and I was building websites for these companies and I was blogging for them and monetizing it with affiliate marketing. But I hadn't made the connection to my own blog until about, I'd say 2016. That's when I sort of a light bulb went off and I decided to quit all of my jobs and just monetize my own blog as a business. So I did it as a hobby for a long time. And I really got to learn a lot about digital marketing from working in corporate marketing and going to school for marketing and digital media. And I was sort of just able to pull at all the different things that I enjoyed doing, the technical stuff, the creative stuff. Blogging really allows you to wear so many hats. And I think it's great for anyone who, even if you don't have a technical background or you're a little bit nervous about the tech side of starting a blog, I think it's such a great experience that everyone should do, just so that you really understand the back end of a site. And you can hire people, you can have freelancers, you can have a team down the road. But if you start your blog from the ground up, it's just such a great experience. And then you can really delegate those tasks to people knowing that you actually know how to do it too. And that's really how I got my start. I did everything. If I didn't understand how to do something that I needed to do, I learned how to do it. I took a course, I watched YouTube, I figured out how to do every little thing that seems so hard. And then pretty soon it wasn't hard. I could move on to the next thing. And I think that's really sort of what helped my blog grow is when I was starting it up, I was just bootstrapping. I was trying everything. I was figuring out weird things and everything sort of fell into place. In 2017, that's when it really just sort of picked up. And at the time, I was running a beauty blog, and I ran it for 1 year. It was making about $4,000 to $5,000 a month in affiliate income when I decided to sell it. And selling that site then allowed me to just have a profitable exit and focus on what I really wanted to do, which was helping other people build, scale, and sell blogs. And that's what I do now full time.
Wow. Okay. So many things I want to ask you about there. Your experience in corporate America,
Mhm.
as you called it, right? You had a corporate
Yes.
marketing job. What kind of things were you doing in this corporate marketing job? And did they have any parlays into your website, into your personal site at the time? Would love to hear about
Yes.
that.
Yes, 100%. So the first job that I was working on in that space was I was working for an events company. They own tons of bars and nightclubs. And what they would have is they have live music and events, and people traveling to town would want to rent out the spaces and have events. So my job was to basically book the rooms. If there was a show, I was getting people in the door. I was working in the head office, and I was connecting with brands and musicians and their teams, and just basically making events happen. And that was really fun. I enjoyed it. I was in my early 20s, so I was going to all the events too. It was a great experience. And it really taught me a lot about the actual like, on the ground working, marketing, getting people in the door, and selling tickets. And that really helped me later on as I started working for myself in the digital space. And I started hosting virtual summits. So once a year, I host a virtual summit. And that experience that I had working in the live events really, really helped to tackle the digital side of an online event, I think. And then the second thing that I did when I was working in corporate marketing was after I left the events job, started working at a business brokerage. And the brokers there,
Aha.
this is where sort of everything fell
Aha.
into place. And the brokers there, they really focused on brick and mortar businesses. So they would help people sell their storefront, their business that they ran, a restaurant, a mom and pop shop. And I thought that was really cool, but they totally ignored the online space. So selling online businesses, that's really where I felt a passion. And I had that connection because I had started up businesses. When I was in college, I had a drop shipping business. So I was always sort of starting up things and, just trying out different side hustles. And even I would hire people on Fiverr. So I would have a website where I was selling some sort of digital service. And then when someone purchased it, I hired someone on Fiverr to actually do it. And then I earned the profit. So that was called drop servicing. So all these little things I think really came together. And then when I was working at the brokerage, I thought, you know what? There's a lot of money in the online space, in online businesses, in Shopify stores, e-commerce, blogs, niche sites. There's so much. There's a business there for helping people to buy and sell those businesses. And really, that's just how I fell into it, really. And I went through the courses at IBBA, which is the International Business Brokers Association. And I really just networked. I made friends and, I learned how to do it. And I went through the right ways to go about it. And then I launched the marketplace.
I think it's really interesting that your corporate marketing background, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of emphasis on really SEO. Your first job or your first corporate marketing experience really taught you a lot about converting existing traffic and selling to that traffic, which is a skill set that every online marketer needs to have, especially someone who runs a content site or an e-commerce site, is taking that traffic and converting it. And then your second marketing job you mentioned was really a lot about helping this brokerage grow and helping them out with especially online assets. But that your experience level, I mean, where did you get your experience for growing a website's traffic? Did it come from your own trial and error, or because you were growing a blog, it sounds like at the same time that you were in these jobs?
Yes. So when I was growing my own blog, that's when I started to learn about SEO. And at the same time, I was working at the brokerage as well. So I was working on their website and I was driving traffic to the website. So I was writing the blog posts and promoting on social media and really just applying everything that I was learning along the way to both the job I was in and my own business that I was just starting. And SEO is the most important thing of any content site, any niche site. SEO is so important. I mean, everything is important, of course, but SEO plays a really big part in that. You need people to come to your site. And yes, there are manual promotion. There's ways to go into Facebook groups and find people to come and check out the things that you're selling, the things you're blogging about. Absolutely. But SEO is playing the long game, and that's what we want. We want our content to rank for a long time and send traffic for a long time. So when our sites are correctly optimized, that's really how we're able to get in there and rank in the SERPs.
Yeah, we had a guest on a little while back, Keval, who runs an e-commerce agency, and he was saying that one of the best areas he learned was he was actually working for an agency for a period of time before he started his own agency. So it's interesting to hear that you have some of this corporate marketing background as well, and you put it obviously to quite good use. And I think we're also noticing a theme already that you've managed to stay busy from the very beginning. It's no easy feat to be running a website and growing a website while you're working a corporate job. Let's talk about that first website. You mentioned it was in the beauty niche. And
Sure.
when did you start it? Let's take us on the journey through that first website and, kind of its growth and what you did.
Sure. So I started that blog in 2017, and I was focused on really niching down and just writing about cruelty-free beauty products. So
Okay.
makeup and skincare products that are not tested on animals and that are not sold in China. So that was my concept. It was something that personally I had a passion for, I believe in just on a moral level. So I really just started that blog writing from the things that I had a little bit of education about already. I had an interest in, I knew a little bit about, and then I just did more research and I did keyword research and I looked at what people were searching for the different types of products. And at the time, there was a lot of search terms or searches for people asking, is this product name cruelty free? And so what
Mm.
I did is I just started writing individual blog posts for each individual product. Is it cruelty free? And then going into the details of the actual product. And then what I did is I just interlinked all of those articles together. And I really had built this database on the website, which was really a one-stop shop for cruelty-free products and cruelty-free information just to educate consumers who are interested in cleaner beauty products. And I wrote everything. I didn't hire any writers at the time when I started this. I was actually on maternity leave and I didn't have a big budget. I was really just like bootstrapping everything. So I actually didn't even have paid advertising for that first year. I hustled manually, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it definitely is a slower process than if you just start with an advertising budget for sure. But at the time, it was like I just had to work with what I was able to do. And so every morning I got up and I just wrote content, and I was like, really just enjoying it. So it didn't feel like work, even though I was doing it for hours. But it was it worked really well because I had a newborn baby and he would just be sleeping in my lap. And with the other hand, I was on my laptop typing. And I was able to build up a lot of content in that first year. And how I monetized it was with affiliate marketing. So all of the products that I talked about, I partnered with the brand. I did a lot of subscription box reviews as well for talking about beauty boxes that had cruelty-free products. And the commissions on those, although they are not too large, they're smaller commissions, but I was able to generate quite a bit of conversions because they're not too expensive for people. It's sort of a quick win when you can get a beauty box where you can try many different products. So that was really how I grew it in that first year. And I manually went into Facebook groups. I went into vegan beauty enthusiast groups, clean beauty groups, makeup subscription box fans, things like that. I went into all those groups, ones that allowed you to promote or share your link. I just went in and I talked to people. If I had a new blog post, I shared it on the wall, I engaged. I really just focused on relationship networking. But the biggest thing was from day one, I focused on growing an email list. So I had some freebies, free PDFs that just shared a little bit more information than the blog post did. So you get down, finish the blog post, and you can read more, just sign up, and here's the rest of it. So that really helped me to grow quickly, and it helped me to generate sales quickly. As I said, it was making about $4,000 to $5,000 US a month. And then I put it up for sale on its 1-year-old birthday, and I sold that for $49,000. And then I was able to use that money to focus on the next thing I wanted to do, which was to launch Her Paperroot business.
Okay, so let's be real. The vast majority of people who start a site, their first one is a bit of a flop, right? There's so many mistakes you make. There's so many problems you run into. And how did you get it so right on the first site? I mean, within a year, you were making $4,000 to $5,000. That's incredible. That is, I think if you talk to a group of people on a whole, that would be really fast.
Yes,
And
it's unusual.
It's unusual, right? I actually want to talk about the different monetization strategies you had for it and I'll highlight a lot of the things
Yeah.
you were doing that are probably different than a lot of like the classic Amazon affiliate type site, right? But still, at
Yes.
the end of the day, you had to have traffic to convert on all those offers. How did you achieve that so quickly? You talked about the types of articles you wrote, so I appreciate that. But were there any other tips that you had to fast tracking your success, to getting to that profitability state so quickly?
Yes. And you are absolutely right that my results are not typical with that site. It was unusual that I was able to grow it so fast, but I do have the background in marketing and I had spent several years blogging as a hobby. So these things, those were sort of the years that I was figuring things out. And I had the formal training. I did go to university for marketing and digital media. So I had that background that I was able to apply to the blog that I monetized, the beauty blog. So for someone just starting out without any of that background, I wouldn't expect such fast growth. So I really think that that helped. And that's why I always let people know about that, that it wasn't just a fluke. And, there was a lot working behind the scenes that helped that to happen. But at the same time, I do believe that anyone can have fast growth because there's things like Facebook groups and Pinterest as well. Pinterest really helped me with generating traffic. And like I said, with having freebies and making sure that I was getting people on my email list, that was such an important part of the growth puzzle as well. And it didn't cost anything, just being able to get people sign up to your email list so that you can send them that weekly newsletter with more tips and include some affiliate products in those newsletters as well. These all came together to really play an important part. And yes, my background absolutely helped, but I really do believe that there are free tools that you can utilize, even though this was a couple years ago. Algorithms, we always know they change. Pinterest has been a little bit tougher lately, or a lot tougher, depending on,
No kidding.
where you're coming from. And I know that because my Pinterest account that used to be so great has now tanked. So I'm right there with you. But there's still ways now. And now if you're working with a little bit of a budget, I would say absolutely look into promoted pins because it is pay to play nowadays. I really do think that if you have a little bit of a budget to work with, you're just going to get that head start a lot easier.
Ugh, Pinterest has been a doozy the last couple months, I'll tell you. But
Yeah.
it's probably a topic for a different time, right? So
Oh
I
yeah, we
do
could fill
think.
a whole episode with that, I
Oh my
think.
goodness, I know. Ugh. I think it's worth highlighting because a lot of people, when they start a site, or perhaps many sites that they have, it's that classic focus on the Amazon affiliate program, and that's there's a time and a place for that. But I think some of the things to highlight that you mentioned that you did that had to have led to the profitability being where it was at, the 4,000 to 5,000 a month. I mean, I wrote
Mhm.
down a bunch of different things. Um, you were promoting private affiliate networks or private affiliate offers. Sorry, odds are probably those were paying you a much higher commission than Amazon would have paid you, and we're
Yes,
giving you a direct
absolutely.
relationship. Did you negotiate at all with those private affiliate managers? Did you have a relationship you developed?
Yes, I did. So I negotiated a few of the commissions for some of the programs, and that definitely helped give it a boost. But any of the programs that I would be working with, I wasn't going to spend my time promoting something where the commission was just too low. If it was
Mhm.
just a few dollars, like a flat rate, or if it was under, say, 20% commission, it just wasn't going to be worth my time and effort, at least where I was at then, because I was just focused on scaling quickly. And so I really wanted to focus on working with brands that either already had a great high paying commission or I was able to negotiate some terms so that I could get a little bit better deal than what was publicly offered. And
Mhm.
that really was something I think that helped too. So I'm
Right.
glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for so many people. Instant. I mean, if you can go from say 5% commission to 20% commission, even if you don't
Huge.
convert quite as much as you might on Amazon, I mean, that's a 4x, and that can really skyrocket some revenue depending on the niche you're in. Now, okay, you did an email list, and it sounds like you really leveraged that email list. You like what was the process? So people would come to one of these more informational, or I guess maybe tell me what types of articles they'd come to, how you would get them on your email list, and then just generally speaking, what the type of emails and the funnel was, and then how you made money off that email list.
For sure. Yeah. So great question. So the types of blog posts that were on that site, they were all informational based about different beauty products. So people would come, it was ranking fairly well on search as well. So it was ranking well in Google. It was getting a fair bit of search traffic for terms like, is product name cruelty free, is product name vegan, things like that. So people would come and they were sort of a hot lead because they had already searched something that was directly about what my blog post was going to share. And then when they got to the page, they could either click the link to go and purchase the product, or both. They could sign up to the email list. And we never want to have just something on our site saying sign up for free goodies or get on my newsletter, because nobody wants to just be on another newsletter. Free goodies is way too vague. We have to
Yeah.
say something very specific for what someone gets instantly in exchange for that email address. So having an ebook, a free course, some sort of maybe a discount at a product if you have a product that you offer, something that you're able to give people right away that they can get that quick win. So on that site, I actually didn't really have much of a funnel. Nowadays, I'm always very very meticulous about the funnels and the upsells and the tripwires that I have. But for this site, it was really basic. It was, here's the free book you get, sign up, you get it. In the back end, it just goes through my email, the auto sends, they get the book. And then after that, I'm able to send them a weekly newsletter. And in those newsletters, I was just sharing sort of industry news about things that are going on in cruelty-free, news sites and things that were happening. If a popular brand had decided to go vegan or something like that, I would just keep those sort of tips in the newsletter, and I'd share whatever new blog posts I had on the go that week. And I always included sort of a weekly deals. And the weekly deals was all affiliate products. So if I had an affiliate brand that I worked with that was having a sale that week, I would make sure to include it in my newsletter. And this way it wasn't pushy. It wasn't like salesy. It was the information first, helpful tips, interesting little things. And at the end, that's when the sales and the products available for sale were mentioned. So by doing it this way, people came to look forward to the newsletter and they didn't feel like they were just being sold to all the time, but there was an opportunity to catch a great deal if they wanted it.
That's great. It speaks to the power of, good keyword research, knowing your audience. And at that point, an email list can make a lot of sense when you have a really target group of people that you're speaking with.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah, okay. Well, so many things we could go into there. Okay. So we're kind of fast forward or caught up now. You have a successful site. It's earning money every month. You choose to sell it. What led you to the decision to sell it so quickly? I mean, you're a year in now.
Mhm.
Sky's the limit for this site. How does that compare up against the timeline of your corporate job, which I know you're not at anymore?
Mhm.
So how to bring us up to speed in the timeline now with the successful website, your corporate job, decision to sell, that part of the
Sure.
process.
So I actually left my corporate job in 2016 and I decided I wasn't going to go back and I didn't know
So
what I was
this
going to
was
do yet.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was going to do yet when I walked out the door for the last time, but it felt so good and so right to just go. I had teeny tiny savings, like about $2,000. It wasn't going to take me very long, but I had a little bit of a maternity leave coming in because I was about to have a baby. I should also mention when I left that corporate job, I was also working a night job as a bartender, like 8 months pregnant. It was crazy. So I quit that job too. And I just focused on, okay, what am I going to do? And I was thinking, well, I could start a Shopify site. I know how to do drop shipping. Maybe I want to do that. Oh, I don't know. It didn't feel as creative. I really wanted to focus on something that was more creative, that was more content writing based. And I thought, well, I should really just focus on a blog and monetize a blog and really just take it serious because I have a little bit of time now. And so I just jumped right in and I didn't know if it was going to work, but I believed that it would. And I really had to just ignore all of the well meaning advice from my friends and family who said, you're crazy, just wait, go get your job back after maternity leave. And, that's something you can count on. but I just had to believe that I could count on myself and make it work. And I'm so happy that I did take that chance because it did work out. So now we're into 2017. I've started the blog. Now we're into 2018 and I've decided to sell it. And my reason for wanting to sell was because although I had that personal passion for the cruelty free beauty niche, it wasn't something that I felt really inspired writing about every day. It had got to a point where it was very time consuming to do all of the reviews. So, a cool thing about doing a beauty blog is brands send you a lot of products. So, you get to try free products and free subscription boxes and cool stuff like that. But that is very time consuming to review everything, take photos. And I really felt more called to sharing my marketing advice because that's what I had done in my career. That's what I felt most excited about. And even though I was blogging about beauty products, the thing I loved most about blogging was the marketing side of it, the growing, the finding a community, building a community, converting sales, working on different campaigns. That was really what I enjoyed the most. So I knew that I should really just focus on sharing all of that advice and the strategies that really excited me. And that's why I chose to sell so that I could launch her Paperroot, which is herpaperroot.com, which is my blog now where I share like marketing and blogging and online business, niche site advice, stuff like that, the stuff that really like makes me jump out of bed in the morning and with excitement.
Wow. So you literally started your beauty site when after you'd left your corporate job on a shoestring budget and
Mhm.
with all the best intentions and a need to make it work.
Yeah, no fallback plan.
And no
No
fallback
plan
plan.
B.
I had a business mentor one time, talk about jumping off the cliff and building your wings on the way down,
Yeah, I
and
love that.
it being the best way to succeed in business because nothing like the pressure that you had put yourself in
Oh,
to
yeah.
help you force you to will your way into success there.
Oh, absolutely. The pressure is so good and so important. You should never even like if you feel like you're successful at one point, never tell yourself that you are. I think just because if you get comfortable, you get lazy. And I
Hmm.
never want to feel lazy. I never want to drop the ball. I always want to stay hungry and keep working. And that's sort of a reason why I don't really spend my money or I don't look at it when I have income coming in, it goes directly into my different accounts, like tax saving account, a profit account, which just goes right into a different bank. So I don't even look at it. And I just pay myself a very small wage, really just to get pay my mortgage and pay the groceries and things like that. And that keeps me feeling like I have to just keep working harder. Even though the profit account is growing, I don't let myself look at it or think about it. So I never really feel that I've made it, even though I have a long way to go, but I want to make myself feel like I have a way longer way to go than maybe I do.
Yeah, that's a great tension to put on yourself. I mean, I run a marketing agency for my day job and then build websites on the side, and so uh, as a counter, websites for me have always just been something that when I get time and when I have the energy in that, and there hasn't ever really been that tension where I've sat down with one of my websites and said, "This is how I'm paying my bills this month." And I think that tension that isn't there has probably led to slower growth over time, and I think that tension is really fascinating to see that you almost put that on yourself on purpose and the success you've had from it because clearly you have a fast track to success with that first beauty blog of yours.
It was cool. It definitely worked out and it helped me to build up my portfolio now. So when I'm looking for sites to buy and develop, I really just look for sites that are sort of under monetized. So they have great traffic coming in. I like to see sites that have great rankings. They're, doing well in Google. There's traffic, they're diversified, so there's traffic coming from Pinterest and different sources, but maybe the seller just doesn't know as much about marketing or they just haven't monetized to its full potential. That's sort of a diamond in the rough for me. And that's actually why I will pay a little bit more than the valuation for those type of sites, just because I know I can take that traffic and all that great content that the site has and I can build it out and monetize it better and get that ROI. So that's really what I look for now as a buyer and blog flipper, really.
Flipper. Yeah. Okay. Well, perfect transition. Let's talk about herpaperroot.com. Now, timeline, let me make sure I already got it wrong once. So 2018, you sold the beauty site and started focusing on Her Paperroot. And I got to spend some time on your website before this, and you have a ton of resources. You also have a podcast, I noticed, actually. So I got to catch up on some of those episodes, but you have a podcast, you have a blog, you have a lot of resources. I noticed a resource on how to launch a website, a resource on how to do email marketing, influencer marketing. So you've got a lot of content on this website. What's the focus of herpaperroot.com? And, kind of how do you spend your time on there, and what areas do you choose to focus on?
Yeah, so I started Her Paperroot as my focus was to create sort of a hub for niche site creators. So when you are either starting a site from scratch or you've just bought one and now you want to develop it, there's resources there to help you with all of the things that really come together to help grow a niche site that I believe or that I've experienced in my time as a niche site creator, the things that I've sort of figured out over the years. So yeah. So as you mentioned, there's different things about partnering with influencers and email marketing. There's a lot of affiliate marketing content there, just sort of resources that can help you make your niche site better and perform better. And that has been my focus for building out that business. And now really my day to day is, I'll have some new content. I'm still writing and producing content there, but my actual day to day really is on the marketplace side. So of Her Paperroot, that the blogsforsale.co, as you mentioned, that's really where things have been blowing up over the last couple years. So with Her Paperroot, I have courses, and you mentioned the podcast and things like that. They all sort of play together. They all, even though it may sound like, oh, well, email marketing is different from affiliate marketing, but at the same time, there are things that work together, and you do sort of need all of those different sides of your business and of your niche site to help it grow and to help grow your community and, make those conversions and sales and build out your funnels, and all of that kind of stuff really plays together. So that's really what goes on there at Her Paperroot. And it's a lot of fun. And I'm still doing it as a solopreneur. I have a couple people on my team who help out as well, but really I'm still the one woman show behind the scenes.
It seems like the areas you tend to specialize in or focus on, I'm again sensing that in our discussion about your beauty website and a lot of the things on Her Paperroot is really a focus on taking traffic and getting the most value out of it, whether it's through monetization, whether it's through lead gen, whatever that might be, but really taking the existing traffic you have and monetizing it better. And you even talked about it in the websites you're looking for now to purchase. I'm sure you are good at growing traffic, but you really said, I'm looking for sites that have that traffic and I want to better monetize them.
Yes.
And so, I think that's an area that a lot of people could do better in, myself included. Let's talk about some monetization strategies specifically. You've mentioned a couple of them, but nowadays on most websites that you're seeing, whether it's through your brokerage or through sites you're looking at, or just through some of your community, what are some good tips and some good mistakes that people are making that could be overcome in monetization?
Absolutely. So I think one of the greatest revenue sources that you can have on your site is some sort of online course, some sort of resource where people sign in and they just get more of you, whether you're there on a video or it's just audio or even just written content, some sort of membership portal where it's off of your blog. Not only does this help you to build your community, it helps to sure make more sales, but if you decide to sell your business, it's just really adding value to the asset of your business overall by having an online course. So I always say to people, if you can create a digital product like a course or an ebook or a template or something like that, buyers love to see that. And that's just a great way for you, even if you're not thinking of selling your blog, it's just a great way for you to generate more sales and have another revenue stream that really you control more. Because yes, we like ad revenue. Ad revenue is great if you're focusing on growing your traffic, which you should be, and you're focusing on writing great SEO optimized articles, which you should be. then you should be generating great traffic and you're getting that great ad revenue. But it can go up and down. You can lose your rankings at any time. Things can change. A page that was ranking one day may not be, it might be seasonal. But if you have something that you really control, like a digital product, something that you personally sell, and you get the full 100% sale of that revenue of that sale, then really you just have that control. And I like that. I like being able to have control over the different revenue streams of a site. So that's one I would definitely recommend. And then the next step to that is when you are offering some sort of ebook or course, have one that is lower priced. So something that's like $27, it's just a quick win, an easy sale, and use that on your Tripwire page. So Tripwire page, when you have something for free that you're giving away in exchange for an email address, like we were talking about in a moment or in a moment past, when someone signs up to get that freebie, they hit submit, you want that form to redirect to a Tripwire page. And this is where you would have your $27 offer. It's something that it's not giving your customer the whole solution to their problem, but it's taking one part of their problem and helping them solve that. So that's why we say a quick win. And it's not blowing the bank. It's $27, $37. It's not going to be too expensive. And you're going to want to put a countdown timer on that page just to have that offer expire in, say, 4 or 5 minutes. So they have to make a quick decision. And it's not to force anyone to make a purchase. It's not to make anyone feel bad. It's just to present this opportunity. It's $27. Here it is. And if they want to do it, and that's great. If not, no problem. They're still getting that free resources, the free resource that they signed up for behind the scenes, right? So they're still getting that free ebook or free course that they had originally signed up for. They've just been given another opportunity to make a sale from you right away. And what this does is, yes, it gives them first that quick win, and they say, hey, this person helped me solve this problem right away. He or she is awesome, and they'll be more interested when you have something more expensive to mention to them later on. But two, it lets your audience know that you are a business. Yes, you are giving away a free resource initially, but you are here as a business. You have things for sale. So they're not going to be surprised or offended when you make offers to them later, because right away you've let them know, hey, we're a business. We have things for sale and they're pretty awesome. They could help you. Check it out. So it's just sort of having a good way of selling and having people feel good about buying from you without being too salesy or coming at them like, buy now, you big dummy. Like, how could you miss out on this opportunity? We don't like that. We don't like that kind of marketing. We like just sales to feel good. So I think that if you focus on that and you're monetizing from a place of what type of offers can I sell that can really actually help people take them from A to B, you're coming from that place of genuinely wanting to help, then you really will make those sales because you are actually helping people. So that's really where I come from a monetization standpoint. We sort of mentioned digital products, affiliate revenue. And of course, the third one I always want to mention is affiliate marketing. Anytime that you can recommend a product that you think would really benefit the reader, it makes sense for what you're talking about, include those affiliate links, make more offers in your blog, let people know about the different brands that you use and you love and you think they might want to try out too. We don't want you to feel awkward or weird about making offers. If you're making offers about things that will help people, like we said, it's a good thing. It's not coming from an offensive way or too pushy or anything like that. So those are the three: ad revenue, digital products, and affiliate marketing. If you can sort of start there and think about your blog as a business as it is, and focus on those revenue streams, I think you'll be ahead of the game.
Those are some really, really great takeaways. I think a lot of people nowadays are pretty keen or pretty aware of affiliate marketing and ad revenue, right? And I think a lot of websites have caught on to the fact that ad revenue can be a nice additional revenue stream. But I imagine from my conversations and certainly with my own websites that adding specialized products, digital products, info products, and courses, that's a massive gap that a lot of people are leaving money on the table with. So it's a really great point. I really like your point about showing the reader or the viewer or the buyer really at that point that you mean business and you're there to sell them. Because you're exactly right. I think a lot of, as a marketing agency, we will come in and help businesses with their email marketing. And a lot of them will say things to us like, oh yeah, well, we tried to sell our product on our email and it just didn't work. But when you drill into it, you realize that they had just been emailing out a newsletter all the time with absolutely no calls to action, no opportunities to buy. And their market, their readers had gotten used to just being told, given plenty of information with absolutely no calls to action, nothing to buy. And then when they out of the blue would try selling over email, it wouldn't go very well. And that's because they had conditioned their email list to that they didn't offer anything for sale. So I think it's a really good point you brought up about conditioning your list that they're going to get value and they're also going to be given opportunities to buy to get even more value.
Yes, definitely. You have to put that out there. I think it is really important. And you're so right. If you were just to send value-based emails all the time and never sell anything, and then out of the blue, you have a sales email, you're going to get a lot of unsubscribers. And it's just because your list, your subscribers, they're not used to seeing that from you. They think of you one way. And then when they see a sales email, they're like, whoa, no way. This is coming out of left field. But if right from the start, you just let people know that you have that balance. Yes, you're there giving value. You have valuable resources and information and advice to share. And you also have things that you sell. And that's just a really good balance to have.
All right. Love it. So there's probably already a good to-do list for a lot of people listening in terms of how to add some extra monetization onto the traffic that they have to help, increase the revenue. I want to start talking about blogsforsale.co. I mean, at some point you transitioned or added this brokerage. And is it a brokerage basically? Is that the best way to refer to it? Or,
It is. Yes. It's a brokerage and a marketplace for online businesses.
Okay. So how does it work? Because in many ways, you help people with blogs for sale find the website or broker the website that they're going to then use to grow. And then they can get all of the tips and tricks from her Paperroot to help grow that. But blogs for sale, talk about the brokerage and what makes it unique and what types of deals are available there and how the process works.
Absolutely. So if someone is thinking about selling their site, they can go to Blogs for Sale and we have a form you can fill out and get a free valuation. And then I will personally let you know what price range I think your site could potentially sell for. And from there, if you decide to list, it's a really seamless process. We really take care of everything. We create the listing, we put it up, we connect with our network of buyers, and we handle all of the marketing. We also handle all of the back and forth with different buyers and interested people until they make an offer. Then we come back to you and we say, hey, we have an offer to present to you. And then you're able to accept, decline, or counter, and we help you with the negotiations there. And that's something that has been really helpful because this way you don't have to be at your email all the time. You're not having to add people to your Google Analytics and go back and forth with people. You can just focus on running your business, and we're taking care of things in the behind the scenes. And then once you have that agreed upon offer, we enter into the sale agreements, we provide the legal contracts, we open up the escrow account. And then I'm really just there to make sure that you get paid on time and that the buyer gets the website assets and the domain and everything on time as well. So I'm actually there to help with that transition period. And then you get paid, escrow pays you out right to your bank account, and away you go. You just exited your blog. It is really seamless, just as that. And some sites can take a while to sell. We've had sites that list up on the marketplace and they sell the same day. We've had ones that have taken 6 months to connect with the right buyer. And really all it comes down to is the right buyer, the person that connects with your site. They see the value and it's just the right timing, really. So there's no way to say exactly ahead of time how long it's going to take for your site to sell. But that's on the side of, for as a seller, that's what you can expect there. If you're just interested in taking a look at what sites are for sale, you can actually go to Blogs for Sale and you can see all of the sites we have at any time. And we actually add new listings each week. And you can go and you can, whether you're interested in buying or not, you can look and use it as research to see how you may be able to make your own site better. So you can see the actual revenue streams that these sites for sale have. You can look at the traffic, you can see what their expenses are, and you can sort of figure out, well, how could I apply different marketing tactics to my own website to make it worth more if I wanted to sell it. And then if you are interested in buying a site that you see there, you can just fill out a form and enter into a conversation with me right away. You can make an offer. We can meet with the seller. There's all different ways that we can go about so that you get all the information that you need before making an investment like that. And it's cool. It's just an open marketplace. You can go, you can connect and see everything laid out there. And that's really it. And it's been a couple years in now, and we just sort of keep growing. We're getting bigger listings and our network is growing. So we have a network of buyers and sellers in the thousands, and it's just growing every day. And I actually want to mention one thing that has helped with the growth of both this business and also my blogs, and something that I think could really help people if they're trying to grow their community is if you can participate in a business bundle. Like there's different companies that have collections of courses. So if you have like your digital course, something like that, I think is so good to have, as I mentioned, but it's also really good because then you can contribute it to these different bundle sales that happen. And this is just a way to quickly grow your email list. So the sales are usually available for 1 week or 2 weeks. You contribute it for free. So
Mhm.
people will get a coupon code to sign up to your course for free. But during that sale week, you get a commission. So you're an affiliate to promote that bundle. But the thing that is really cool and really helps your business grow is every other contributor and affiliate who promoted that bundle, they're all sending their traffic, their email subscribers to this bundle who all get to then sign up to your course. So yes, they get to sign up to your course for $0. You're not making that commission, but you're not making that sale on these people, but you're getting them into your funnel. You're getting their email address, and hopefully you'll have a tripwire or some sort of upsell when people sign up to get free access to your course. You can present them with an offer right away there. And that's a way that I've really grown my email list over the years, is just by being a contributor in these different bundles and contributing a product that directly relates to the business that I have. So I know that anyone that signs up to my product, they're going to be at least a little bit interested in the things that I do and offer and sell.
Wow, that's a good tip. Right? Where do you find these bundle opportunities? Are they available pretty easily if you just start searching for them?
There is. So there's a few different companies. There's InfoStack, there's the Bundle Co., there's Ultimate Bundles. There's quite a few other ones. I host a bundle once a year. I have one going on called the Niche Investor Bundle. There's all these different sort of companies, and sometimes it's just small businesses, like a group of bloggers get together and they just want to host a product like this. So I think if you just go and you start getting on people's email lists, like some of the brands I just mentioned, get on my list, you can find out about it every year. And then you sort of just you get in touch with these people and you say, hey, next time you have a bundle that might make sense, I have this really great product, I'd love to be a contributor. And you just sort of open that relationship.
Hmm. That's a great tip. Let me ask you. Let me take that as a good transition. I mean, you see a lot of websites through your work with website owners and through blogs for sale. Um, let's talk about how to increase the value of a website that you might already own. Let's say that I'm someone who has a website and I'm intrigued at the opportunity of selling it. What are some of your tips for increasing the value of the site, to get a higher multiple, to get a higher purchase price if I'm looking to sell down the road?
Yeah, so great question. So the first thing that you'll want to focus on is your revenue, your profit. The higher the profit you have, generally means the higher you will be able to sell your site for. So if we're able to increase those conversions, those sales, and you're really just focusing on keeping the income coming in, that's a great place to be at. So you'll want to have a profit and loss sheet, some sort of tracker where you're keeping track of what income is coming in and how much you're spending. And that's just something that your broker will want to look at, and also your buyers will want to look at that as well. I'm just going to quickly take a sip of water.
Hmm. And I actually noticed while you're taking a sip, I think you have a free P&L on the blogforsale.co. Isn't that a free resource you have there?
It is a free resource.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go and get the actual profit and loss sheet that we use in our business and in all of our valuations that we do. You can just go and access it, download it. It's up in Google Sheets. So you can copy it and just use it for your own business.
Yeah. I have a friend who went to sell their site and hadn't been keeping a profit and loss. So they had to go back and build one to
Oh,
sell
yeah.
it. And let me just say, they said, never again will I ever make that mistake. I'm going to keep an accurate P&L going forward for all my sites, so that if I want to sell, I don't have this nightmare of backwards accounting.
That's so important. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes, even if you have just started your site, you guys out there, and you're not making income yet, you may still have expenses, startup expenses. So just start tracking that from day one or day to day. If you're just hearing this now, start doing it now, because yes, if you have to go back years and years, it's going to be so annoying to track down receipts and sales. And PayPal only keeps records for so long. So just start
Mhm.
tracking that now. Even if you're not intending to sell it, you might down the road, or you might want to take out a loan or business loan or something, or even a mortgage. And you'll just want to be able to show that you have this history of profit from your business. So that's a great tip to thank you for mentioning that.
Sure.
And yeah, so the revenue, we also want sites, of course, that have good traffic coming in. And the word good, that could mean something different to anyone, but really you just want consistent, healthy traffic coming in from diversified sources. So if you have Google traffic, awesome. If you also have some social Pinterest traffic, maybe you're on TikTok, wherever it is that you hang out and where your audience hangs out, we want to see that traffic coming in. So that's going to help your valuation as well. And then think about any sort of additional assets that you have, like an online course, like your email list. Maybe you have social accounts or a Facebook group with lots of followers or members. That all comes into play. So, with those things, those are really the main things that you'll want to focus on for increasing the value of your site.
So when it comes to giving the site a specific value or valuation, are you guys working off of kind of a multiplier on net profit, on monthly net profit, like we hear about a lot in the industry?
Yes. So we look at your 12-month profit, and we usually price sites between 24 times the monthly profit up to 36 times. So if your site is earning about $1,000 a month, you can usually expect that you're going to sell between $24,000 and $36,000.
So let me ask you, I've sold a couple sites myself, and let me ask you a question that I find very intriguing. I didn't know a lot about it going into it, and then have learned a lot in the process of selling. And that's how you come up with that net profit number. So some different, whether it's a brokerage or whether it's just people valuing their own site, they will not count the costs of adding content to the site. Others include that as part of the net profit. So let's say that over the last 12 months, I've invested several $1,000s in hiring a writer to write content for my site. And then there's this question of whether that should be counted against my profit or not. And I find it to be an intriguing topic because, if you're someone who wrote the content versus if you're someone who outsources the content, and how that plays into the overall value. What are you seeing in the industry? How are you guys evaluating that when it comes to your multiples and what you're seeing buyers and sellers do nowadays?
So I recommend that you include things like your writers or your virtual assistant, any sort of advertising spend. You want to include it on your profit and loss, but there's a section underneath for add backs, and that's
Mhm.
things that would be non-essential. So then anything that you had in your expense, you could also copy it into the add backs section, and it will literally just like take that expense out, cancel it out. So think about the things that your new owner wouldn't the new site owner wouldn't expect to also pay. So yes, they'd have to pay web hosting. So we still want to include that. Yes, they'd have to renew the domain. You want to be able to show what you have spent, but you don't need to include things like if you hired a coach for yourself. That wouldn't be an expense that the new owner would expect. And it's also not something that needs to go on the P&L. Whereas your writers, you'll want to have that show up on your P&L. The new owner may not choose to hire writers. They might want to write it themselves, or they already have their team. So they, in their mind, they can just remove that expense themselves, but we still want them to know that it was that content was paid for there somehow. So they can see it, they can educate themselves about it, but then they know it might not be their own expense. So they're making their offer in their mind based on what their expected expenses would be, even though you've given them the information of what your expenses were. But like I say, you wouldn't include any courses or coaching or membership business dues that you paid for yourself. It's not a direct expense that it takes to run the website, things like that. So it's not something like that that would be on the P&L. But of course, you just
Perfect.
want to be honest and you want to show any expenses that you had if it makes sense. If you think that it was an expense that directly related to the site or it's a direct expense that the new owner will be expected to pay, you're going to want to show that.
Right. Okay, good. That's great clarity. There's expenses you have that relate more towards not the website itself, but more towards the overall business and your growth as a business. There's
Mhm.
also expenses that can get counted as add backs because they aren't operationally required to maintain
Mhm.
the site, but there's still something that you spent money on to help grow the site. But they don't count. These don't count against your multiple. These don't count against your net profit number as it relates to what you're selling for. Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that, but yes, things like advertising, that's something that would count because that was an expense that then generated traffic, which we
Right.
assume generated some of that income. So an advertising expense, I would leave that line on your expenses so people see and then they know, okay, well, that's why traffic was so high in March. You spent double the amount of your advertising. So that's just really going to help people understand how your business has been run.
Good. Good. Yeah, I think there's a lot of confusion about how to calculate, a net profit amount, especially if you're someone who's been investing in a site for a while and you have different growth channels, and then how to come up with that monthly multiplier. So, okay, good. What would be a quick checklist of things people need to be thinking about, both going into selling a site and maybe for someone who wants to buy a site? What are some things that people need to be thinking about as they gear up for that?
Great. Yes. So if you are thinking about selling your site, some of the things that I'm going to suggest are really just good tips to do anyway, just as a blogger. So make sure that your Google Analytics is connected to your site. It's tracking that traffic. That's number one. This is for you so that you understand where traffic is coming from, and also so that your buyers can see a history of traffic and they understand really where your community and where your readers come from, and that they can expect how they may be able to grow the site from where it's at right now. So that's the first one. Like we mentioned, with tracking your profit and loss, very important. Focusing on keeping the sales coming in. So I know a lot of the time when someone is ready to put their site up for sale, they sort of make that connection in their mind that they're letting it go. So then their mind goes elsewhere and they no longer publish new content, or they just sort of stop speaking in their Facebook group, because they feel like they've already left the business, but you haven't. It's really important that from the time that you decide to sell your site to the day that you have given that site to the new owner, that you are still actively running the business. So that
You
means, yeah, putting
were
out
saying
fresh
one of your
content.
sites would take 6 months to sell. I would hate to think what would happen if the owner took time off starting from the day he listed it or she
That's
listed
right. Yes, we
it.
can't go on vacation yet. That we're not celebrating yet. The work is just getting started. So yeah, when buyers are looking to potentially make an offer on your site, you better believe they're going to your Facebook page and your Instagram page. And if they see questions that have been left unanswered or you haven't posted in 6 months, that's a bad sign. They're not going to want to invest in a business that isn't active. So keep those blog posts coming up. Keep active and engaged in your different social media accounts. Keep your newsletter going out consistently. We don't want our email list to go cold while your site is listed for sale. These are all important things that you should just keep active. And it's only going to help you to sell. So it's only to your own benefit, really, in the end. And other things that you're going to want to do is, if you don't yet have a digital product, create one. Create a simple one in Canva. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to take you too long. Just have some sort of additional digital asset that you either give away to grow the list or you sell it, or both.
Mhm.
And so that's really going to help you and prime your site to put it in that great position to sell. And another thing that I want to mention lastly is think about the actual content on your site. Keep your content high quality. We don't want to drop the ball. Just like you don't want to stop publishing. You want to actually keep on auditing your content. Go back and update old posts and make sure things are properly interlinked. Make sure that you have great meta descriptions in all your blog posts and all your keywords make sense for the articles. And you're just really putting that effort in because it is going to pay off. When buyers are looking at sites, they don't want to just buy a site that has 400 word articles. They want quality content and it has to be original. So do not go and buy a bunch of PLR content. Don't do that. We don't want copied duplicate articles. We want everything to be high quality, original. And that's just really going to help you be in the right position to find a great buyer at the top of the valuation.
Whew, a lot of good things. If you're thinking about selling your site, there's a lot of tips there for what to do to not only prepare for the sale, but to get the highest amount possible. Bit of a transition as we start to wrap up here. And I feel like I already know the answer because clearly you're very active in a lot of areas, but are you still doing some sites on your own nowadays?
I am. I am
Okay.
always actively looking for sites to buy. I
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily start sites from scratch as much. I think now I really only start a complete scratch install site from maybe once a year, really. But I buy about 4 to 5 sites a year because I like jumping ahead of the startup phase. I like acquiring a site that already has traffic, income, and a community. And when you're starting from scratch, like I say, do it. It's a good thing to do. Everyone should do it, but you don't have to do it forever. You can jump ahead and get that kickstart by buying a site that's already generating all of the things that you could, take it and run with it and improve it. So yes, I build up my portfolio. I have, I think about 6, 7 sites right now. I'm like losing count. But they're kind of cool because they're all different niches and they all sort of have a different revenue source. I'm always focusing on affiliate marketing and digital products, but some of them are more like e-commerce based. So I actually just sold one that was a site that sold themes. So it was Genesis themes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was starting up, I was building my own Genesis child themes. And so when this business became available, I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I just went in, I bought it, I updated all the themes, I sort of rebranded it a little bit and then sold it. And that was just really a quick flip. And there's different types of investors. There's people who buy sites to build up the portfolio and hold for the long term. They just want them to generate income each month and build over time. And that's a great way to do it. For me, I really get a rush from buying something, fixing it up, and flipping it quickly and like under a year, even 6 months sometimes. That's really the type of investor that I am. I like to flip businesses fairly quickly.
So your goal is with these, you talk about having, 6 or so sites right now in your portfolio. And so your goal nowadays is to pick up sites, fix them, scale them, and then flip them on, sell them on.
Yes.
Yeah. Any recent success stories? You talked about the theme site. Any other success stories or kind of, quick stories you can tell us about some growth you've had?
Yeah, definitely. So, my most recent one was it was a personal finance blog that was written for people who are in college now, so like Gen Z uh, groups of people, younger college people. And so I picked up this site. It had traffic coming in from Pinterest, and it was getting about 50,000 page views a month from Pinterest. And it was only ranking a couple two articles on Google, but it did really well around the holidays because it had a little bit of holiday content. And so what I did is I took that site and I went to those holiday content articles and I monetized them with Amazon affiliate products that would make great Christmas gifts and holiday gifts. And so I just went through that and I just sort of had it ready a couple months ahead of time. And then when December came around, I had added the site to Ezoic. So I had the ads ready and it was great. It generated about $3,000 in December. And this is from a site that really was under monetized. So after a couple weeks working on it, I was able to bring the income up to double that. And just from working on what was already working, so those articles that were ranking and the ones that were getting the most hits from Pinterest. And I just focused on, it was only a handful, it was about 6 articles that was really my main focus because those were the most popular. And then in my free time, I'd work on the other articles and just monetize them or improve the content a little bit, optimize them better for SEO. And then I was able to flip that. So I bought that site for $3,000 and I sold it for $9,000, about 6 months of owning it in between. And it made a couple thousand while I was holding it. So that was a good one. And that was just a really quick flip. It wasn't a huge, wasn't like a 6-figure deal, but it was just a good quick flip. And really, that's what I've been focusing on the last few years is just every couple months, I'm selling another site, I'm buying another site and sort of just building it up as I go.
That's great. It's great. Is there any last tips that you have to share that I didn't ask you about, or anything from your experience that you think everybody would really get a lot out of hearing from you?
Well, I know the audience of this podcast and of your blog, you guys are already really professionals at this stuff. Like, this stuff, niche site creation. And some of you may not have thought about actually selling your niche site before. And I think if you're considering it now, really just focusing on the things you already know that help you grow your site, those are the things that are going to help you to actually sell for more profit. And if I know it can feel like a lot of work, but and it can be, but every little bit of effort that we do, it pays off. It becomes passive over time. So we put that work in now and it starts to generate traffic and revenue and becomes a source of passive income as we go. And so I would just say, like, just keep on doing it, keep working on it, don't give up. And it really can be the best job that never feels like a job, if you'll let it. So keep on doing your thing.
Keep on keeping on. And let's see, where's the best place for people to find you if they want to connect? Where should people go?
I would love to connect with anyone who is interested. You can find me at herpaperroot.com. And when you are there, all of the sort of different resources that we mentioned, the free profit and loss sheet, the marketplace, I have a toolkit for niche site creators. It's all there. It's free. And then, when you sign up, you'll see what's on my Tripwire page. I've got some really cool offers going on right now. So you don't have to buy, but you can see how my Tripwire offers actually work and how my funnels work. So if you're interested in nerding out on the technical side of Tripwires and upsells, you can just see exactly how I have mine set up. And I build them all in Elementor, I should also mention. So you don't need expensive tools or anything to create some really cool upsell pages.
Oh, that's great. Everybody gets to go experience it firsthand if they want all the tips you've been talking about. So, well, Chelsea, thank you so much for being on the Niche Pursuits podcast. I really appreciate the conversation. It's been really enlightening. I hope everybody else has gotten as much out of it as I have. So until next time, thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
All right. Talk soon. Bye-bye.